Hey, I am Hannah, Customer Insights Researcher, and this is Survey Teardown number 14. If you're new here, this is day 14 out of 50 days of 50 survey teardowns. Try saying that 5 times fast or even 1 time fast. It was pretty difficult. And today we're going to look at the hustle. You can see that on my screen right now. This is the page that you arrive at once you subscribe. So from the homepage, you subscribe to this newsletter, enter your email, and you get taken here. This is a really, really smart and effective use of the confirmation/thank you page. I've done this in the past. I've had a lot of success with this. And its power lies in the fact that you are piggybacking on an existing event. You're not asking a survey question after the fact. You're asking like, hey, you just signed up for this thing. And ideally, you expect the questions to be about the thing that you signed up for. Given that I had the momentum and the interest to sign up in the first place, the fair assumption is that I'm already engaged. So to now be asked to further engage is a nice and pleasant surprise. It's a delightful surprise as opposed to a survey usually having a negative connotation. So placement and positioning and timing of this survey is really, really fantastic. If you have taken a sec to read, you'll actually see it's kind of fun what they're saying. So look at this, like, can we talk? We ask a few questions to make this the best damn email around. When you open the email tomorrow, you may even see the results from the final question. So open loop there. They are building that curiosity. So you actually go forward and like fill out this survey because I'm curious now about the last question. But very, very short, tight description here. A thank you, a very clear entry. And you can see that because of the positioning and the tone of it, you can kind of get away with not having to follow these survey best practices in as rigid of a fashion, right? Like they don't have to necessarily say how many questions or how long this is going to take. I'm not even thinking that. When I read this, I think, oh, cool, I get to engage more. And from the looks of the first question, I get to now curate my experience here. What types of information are you most interested in? And the sense is that based on what I click, I'm going to get that type of content in the newsletter that I signed up for. So this is like a very, very welcome survey, which is rare, right? Surveys have a bad rap, as we've discovered. We've experienced many surveys of our own, and so this positioning here is really, really smart in that regard. And let's you'll notice here like what types of information are you most interested in. So the beauty here, it's really, really subtle, is that they're asking about the present tense, even though this is going to possibly and presumably impact the type of content I'll get in the future. So they don't ask about like what type of content would I like in the newsletter, which is a hypothetical and kind of a projection that I would have to make. They're asking like what types of things are you interested in right now? Really, really small difference, but you end up getting more accurate insight. Of course, they're going to use this information to curate what I get, and I'm thinking of it in that context, but the way that they ask me is very immediate. Like I have an impulse right now, and I'm able to pull on like, hey, what do I feel like getting right now, as opposed to thinking like, what would I like to get in the future? Which can take me away a bit from the question. So really, really important to always do present tense where you can. This is a fabulous question. I really, really like this. So pick the 3 most interesting headlines. I'm curious, like exactly how this layers into, like if this is serving me and the type of content that I'm going to receive, or if this is to help curate like what content is effective, and what sort of copy, quote unquote, wins. But it's a really, really powerful and easy and fun way for them to gauge like what is resonating with people. Of course, there's completely different tones here, right? So like Mark Zuckerberg purchases a mysterious private island. I kind of want to know what island. 11 traits shared by Fortune 500 CEOs, and I can choose one more. This is kind of interesting. So even though this question might be one that is serving them, in that they're getting a sense of like, perhaps there's particular formulas to these headlines, and sort of, formulas that they are kind of vetting, or even if there's something they're testing here, right? Maybe they swap these out. It still feels really interesting to me. It's still something where I get to be like, oh, cool. It's still fun. It's very light. It's not very intense. It's perfect placement. Right after I have this sense that they asked about what I'm interested in, what topics I'm interested in, now I get to like dive deeper. And this also gives me a taste of potentially what kind of content will be in the letter. And this last question here, so this is it. You can't tell that it's the last question yet, but you will in a sec when I click, and that's the beauty of Typeform. I always use Typeform when I can with surveys, because it allows for that like 1, 2, 3, one question at a time, really minimizing survey overwhelm, survey fatigue, and no kind of minimizing other distractions. Okay, so what milk do you drink most often in 2020? For me, it's coconut milk. But this kind of breaks that rule, right? Of like, only ask what you need to know, only ask when you really need to know it, make the questions easy to answer. Absolutely, this is easy to answer, but it is a pattern interrupt, right? And so when you have a particular brand or a particular tone, and the placement of, if you're asking a question right on the back of a sign up where someone's already kind of rearing to go, ready to sort of like get that first email from you, get that first point of interaction from you, you can afford to ask questions like this, because what they do is they set a tone, right? It sets this like nature of engagement. It creates a sense of like play and fun, and also usefulness with the earlier questions. It builds some personality. I wouldn't necessarily encourage this for any, actually I wouldn't encourage this for any and all brands, but based on the tone, based on the positioning of the survey, this can be a place to play and communicate, one, that you care about personalized experiences, that you care about creating unique and like powerful customer experiences, which this survey makes very clear, just with 3 questions total here. But it also kind of sets this tone, right? There is a sense of like a lightness, that even if I'm going to be getting this newsletter, now I'm interested, now I'm engaged. This is going to be something that I actually enjoy opening. I'm looking forward now to not only seeing this particular content, because they said up here, you may even see the results from the final question, but to getting a sense of like, what can I expect in these newsletters, right? So surveys are really powerful that way, especially in terms of how they're positioned. Don't be shy to be conversational and kind of go out on a limb and be playful in them, as long as it serves, as long as it's not overdone and it actually serves and contributes to the tone, and it sets this like notion of conversation and exchange. Because even through a survey, what's interesting is now we have like, it's kind of this inside joke now, right? I'm going to open this email, see these results, know that I contributed to these results. I'm curious about the results. Sticks in your head. It's something that's like now difficult to forget. So a very different survey, but really, really powerful. So while there are these kind of best practices, you can kind of manipulate them and play with them to sort of exercise a particular tone and build a particular relationship, a strong relationship with your audience. I hope that's helpful. That's it for today, and I will check in back here tomorrow for survey teardown number 15.